Happy Friday and welcome to Bookish Talk. Our tagline is Write Your Story. Why? Well, if you don't write your own story, who will and what will it be? Today, we'll take an enlightening look at the impact AI is having on the publishing industry. Maybe if you don't write your own story, AI will, and you won't necessarily like what AI comes up with. We'll also be encouraging you to read the genre of self-help books and empowering you to begin the process of writing your story by inviting authors to share their stories. And in our Authors Corner today, we've invited two fine authors, Kathy Dirksen. She's an author, speaker, and founder of Tenacity Global Solutions, as well as Linda Sunshine West. She's an author, speaker, and founder and CEO of Action Takers Publishing. They're going to share their journey from writing a chapter in an anthology book to empowering people to write and publish their own stories. So for our new Bookish members, my name is CJ Grace. I'm the author of two humorous self-help books, Adulterer's Wife, How to Thrive Whether You Stay or Not, and the comic memoir, My Wild Ride, How to Thrive After Breast Cancer and Infidelity. I'm streaming live from Maui, Hawaii, and I'm honored to be joined by Liz Luckett, author and CEO of Expressly Speaking, streaming live from Wisconsin. So, Liz, you've written a chapter in an anthology book, right?
Yes, I am. I'm writing one now in Kathy's book. So Kathy, we're going to be talking later in the show. She's doing an anthology, and so it's a group of about 20 to 25 women. We're hoping it's going to come out this year, and in it we inspire women with our stories along the way to leadership. My chapter is called "The Courage to Walk Away: My Journey to Entrepreneurship." And in it, it talks about my personal story and how my father actually gave me the courage to walk away from the corporate world and start my own business. So I'm super excited about it. The book, I said, is a compilation of words of wisdoms to exploring the journey in leadership as a woman in our careers and in life. Participating in the book, as you know, in anthologies allows you to amplify my message and the message of the women that are in the book on a global scale. So I'm super excited about that.
Well, congratulations on that, Liz. And do you have the title for the book?
We're going to talk to Kathy about that later. Let's. I don't want to steal her thunder.
Okay, great. So, how are we honoring? I'm going to pivot here. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and how are we honoring that, Liz?
Well, CJ, as we know, like you just said, May is Mental Health Month, and the mission is to address the challenges that face millions of people around the world living with this condition. There are many organizations that are participating to support and eradicate the stigmas, fostering public education, advocate for prioritizing the well-being of people and families affected by mental illness. So the Bookish Club is doing our part by sharing stories of authors who suffered in silence due to the lack of health literacy. We are sharing the story of Adeline Virginia Woolf, who began writing in the 1900s. She was an essential part of London's literary and artistic society. In 1915, she published her first novel, The Voyage Out. Her novels, Mrs. Dalloway, To the Lighthouse, and Orlando, garnered her praise. She was also known for essays such as A Room of One's Own. Her books were translated into 50 languages, which inspired feminism. A large body of her writing is dedicated to her life and work. She has been the subject of plays, novels, and films, but nevertheless, she struggled with mental illness. And I like hearing her story because of all the things that we've done. It takes that stigma out of that, you have to be this person that's living in solitude, but you can be out front and still struggle with mental illness. She was institutionalized. She attempted suicide twice before finally succumbing and drowning herself by filling her overcoat pockets with stones and walking into the river on March 28th, 1941. Let's listen to her suicide letter that she left to her readers as a reminder to get the help you need.
Tuesday. Dearest, I feel certain that I am going mad again. I feel we can't go through another of those terrible times. And I shan't recover this time. I begin to hear voices, and I can't concentrate. So I am doing what seems the best thing to do. You have given me the greatest possible happiness. You have been in every way all that anyone could be. I don't think two people could have been happier till this terrible disease came. I can't fight any longer. I know that I am spoiling your life, that without me, you could work. And you will, I know. You see, I can't even write this properly. I can't read. What I want to say is that I owe all the happiness of my life to you. You've been entirely patient with me and incredibly good. I wanted to say that. Everybody knows it. If anybody could have saved me, it would have been you. Everything is gone from me but the certainty of your goodness. I can't go on spoiling your life any longer. I don't think two people could have been happier than we have been. V.
Wow, that was pretty powerful. She was writing, that was Virginia, the reading of Virginia Woolf's suicide letter that she wrote to her husband, Leonard Woolf.
Wow. I mean, you just have to take a pause on that, take a couple of deep breaths. And if there's anyone out there that's feeling that way, please, we implore you during this week to get the help that you need, please. So we're going to take a deep breath on that, and we're going to pivot just a little bit. So CJ, this is one of my favorite parts of the show. This is where we get to go visit someplace. So I'm super excited by this. So what library are we visiting today that is located in Taiwan?
Well, we're going to be visiting the Tainan Public Library, and it's in Taiwan's oldest city, Tainan. And the library is home to the city's modern art, music, films, 1 million books, including more than 16,000 from the Japanese occupation period. And some people may not know that Taiwan was occupied by Japan for almost 50 years, from about 1895 to the end of World War II. And it was a pretty difficult time for the Taiwanese people. They were denied self-government. They were kept out of all high positions. They weren't allowed to go to schools that had their language. They were forced to assimilate into Japan, learning Japanese and the Japanese culture. And their own language and traditions were not allowed to be practiced. So it was a very difficult time. More than thousands of Taiwanese who tried to oppose the occupation were killed. And so that was a 50-year occupation. But back to this beautiful library, the most striking feature of the library is the inverted step shape of the exterior. You've got slender columns supporting the cantilevers in rhythmically placed quartets, giving you a feeling of weaving your way through a modern bamboo forest. And there's a striking crown of the building surrounded by vertical aluminum slats and carved flower patterns. And they're supposed to be reminiscent of the decorative latticed windows in the old town. And what they're there for is that the slats filter the light and keep the heat out. And in the evening, you can see this unique facade recognizable from afar. And inside the building, you can see that's the children's area, wonderful bookcase of a giant pencil. It's really cool. And there are lots of wonderful activities. You've got various activities in there. There's also a double height atrium with a playful work of art by Paul Coxedge to give the impression of paper pages tumbling down from the ceiling. And the art there is exhibited not just to look at, but also to be interactive and to be able to be touched and played with. And there's also a striking red straight staircase that's visible on all levels through the subtle wooden slatted flight of stairs. So it's a beautiful library. You can see these imaginative bookcases, and there are all kinds of outdoor areas there too, arranged as roof gardens. And also there are 3 multifunctional spaces for classrooms and workshops, as well as, of course, a cafe. You can't have a really good library without a cafe in there somewhere. It's got a teen lounge, theatre, conference hall, art gallery, and a braille library. So that's pretty interesting. So we're going to be taking a virtual tour of this beautiful library in Taiwan. I have to warn you, the subtitles are in Chinese, but you'll see you don't need to understand the subtitles. You'll have a visual feast. We'll be right back after looking at this beautiful library in Taiwan. As they say in Chinese, 很漂亮, very beautiful and very different from the kind of dreary, dark, cramped libraries I went to when I was a kid, I have to say. So Liz, tell us, who is our bookish author of the week?
Well, this might surprise some people, but Whoopi Goldberg's memoir, that's what we're going to be talking about. So her memoir is telling stories about the people and places that made her who she is today. Her memoir, Bits and Pieces, My Mother, My Brother, and Me, focuses on the people who influenced her most, her mother, Emma Harris, and her brother, Clyde K. Johnson. Whoopi's book follows her journey from growing up in the projects of New York City to her rise to stardom on the heels of her one-woman show, The Spook Show. She takes readers along her rise to stardom, including her Academy Award-winning role in Ghost, and through some of the most difficult moments she's faced, including her mother's nervous breakdown and her experience with drug use. The lasting bond between her family helped her get by. Her memoir reminds us to write our own story. CJ, let's switch a little bit. Can we talk about AI and the impact that it's having on publishers?
Yeah, we can. And it's a double-edged sword, very much so, because it can really help you write better, but it can also take over. It can also censor, because AI will pull in from it, whatever it's been taught. That's what the AI pulls in. And so if it's been given a biased view, it will spit you back out a biased view. And also, I think that in terms of human experience, humor, compassion, I don't think you can expect that out of AI. It's not the same as you would get from a real human, even if it may be perfect in terms of the syntax and the ability to write wonderful marketing copy, all of that. But we've got a YouTube video for you to show you some of the impact that AI is having on the publishing industry. And it also tells you why we absolutely need to work hard to learn how to use it as a tool rather than a replacement for real people. We'll be right back after seeing that video.
Now to superstar Adele, revealing the secret behind her new outlook on life. The singer praising a New York Times best-selling book, saying, quote, "I am so ready for myself after reading this book." Stephanie Ramos joins us with more. And Stephanie, you have the author's reaction to this. Good morning.
Good morning, Michael. Adele shared a photo of the book titled Untamed, Stop Pleasing, Start Living, encouraging her followers to read it because she says it changed her life. The author now says she's thrilled and hopes the book inspires other women. Adele's music has always done the talking, her voice captivating fans worldwide. When we were young. But these days, it's the Grammy winner's body transformation that has the world buzzing. Adele now sharing it partly comes from what she's learning about herself after reading.
Publishers Archive presents The Book Industry Nightmare: How AI Could Destroy the Future of Publishing. While artificial intelligence has the potential to bring positive changes to the book publishing industry, it also poses a fair number of risks that could drastically alter the industry as we know it. Publishing professionals should brace for reduced jobs, diversity, creativity, and increased privacy and intellectual property challenges in our AI-enhanced future. What follows is a quick outline of just a few of the problems the book industry will have to face in the coming months and years. Job displacement. Although many think of creative industries as immune to the disruptive effects of artificial intelligence, AI automation may lead to the displacement of many jobs in the publishing industry. Even today, in the early stages of AI technology, copy editing, proofreading, typesetting, cover design, marketing copy, audiobook narration and more can be done by AI to such an extent that human involvement in these areas can be reduced or even eliminated in some cases. The loss of more than 50,000 jobs in the U.S. alone would be a blow to the creative workers staffing the book industry and the economy in general. Reduced diversity and creativity. AI algorithms often rely on existing data and patterns to make recommendations and decisions. This can inadvertently reinforce existing biases and limit the diversity of promoted or published content. Human creativity is a complex and multidimensional process deeply rooted in our experiences, emotions, and imaginations, which AI has yet to replicate fully. Unfortunately, while many people working directly in the book industry are deeply passionate and knowledgeable about literature and storytelling, the C-suite of the parent companies of those publishers are primarily passionate about profits and shareholder value. Diminished human touch. AI tools can assist with various content creation and editing aspects, but they may lack the human intuition, creativity, and context required for nuanced writing and editing decisions. Over-reliance on AI-generated content or editing suggestions could result in a loss of the unique voice and perspective of human authors and editors. Consolidation of power. As AI-driven recommendation algorithms become more prevalent, there is a risk of a few dominant platforms or retailers controlling the majority of book sales. Intellectual property challenges. AI technologies generate content based on existing datasets, primarily created by other writers. This raises questions about copyright ownership and plagiarism that have yet to be resolved. Privacy concerns. AI relies on vast user data to improve recommendations and personalize experiences. Ensuring that artificial intelligence systems respect user privacy, handle data responsibly, and provide transparent and informed consent mechanisms is crucial. From recommendation algorithms that could be parsed by authoritarian state actors to tainted algorithms that censor unpopular viewpoints, it is going to become essential to build strong legislative barriers to protect personal data. Addressing these potential adverse effects of AI requires careful consideration, ethical guidelines, and ongoing monitoring. It will become increasingly important over the coming years to strike a balance between AI-driven automation and human expertise to preserve the values of creativity, diversity, and human connection that are integral to the book publishing industry. By navigating the challenges and harnessing the potential of AI responsibly, the book industry can shape a future where technology and human expression coexist harmoniously. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe.
That almost sounded to me like an AI voice. I think it probably was.
It did to me too.
And it was kind of creepy to me. I have to say, my experience with AI has not been super positive. I've written a blog about debating ChatGPT on the bras and breast cancer link, where AI, the ChatGPT refused to bring up any of the many studies out there that show a strong link between bras and breast cancer, and only brought up one flawed study that showed no link, as well as inventing studies to show no link that did not exist. There's all this business about the, what do they call it? Hallucinations, AI hallucinations, where it will create what it thinks it wants you want to see, even if it doesn't really exist as a fact. It's a shame that original source documentation, which used to be the bedrock of journalism when in the Stone Age, when I was a journalist, original source documentation seems to be so last century, sadly. So Liz, what are your ideas on the impact of AI publishing?
Well, for me, the biggest thing is that you can't capture a person's heart or their voice. AI can't do that. And so my fear is that the author will lose their voice. How can you capture that? How can you capture the heart? How can you capture the emotions or the intent of the author's voice in words when you're using calculations? It's just, that's my biggest fear, that you'll use that. And even when it comes to copywriting, human beings understand. And so just that human touch, that's my biggest fear, is losing that human touch. It really is. Scary stuff. Well, anyway, CJ, so during our break, we will share our first self-help book titled Untamed by Glennon Doyle. In her memoir, she shares the joy and peace she felt since she stopped striving. Oh my gosh, let me say this really slow because I like this. Since she stopped striving to meet others' expectations and starting trusting her own deep voice from within. And we're just talking about that. For years, she denied her own discontent. And while speaking at a conference, she looked at a woman across the room and fell in love. This was the voice of the person she had been before the world told her who to be. Glennon decided to quit abandoning herself and instead abandon the world's expectation of her. She quit being good so she could be free, and she started living. We will meet her during the break. When we come back, we'll meet our first guest, also in the writing club, Kathy Dirksen, the author of Tenacity Global Solutions. Bookish is sponsored by Thriving Women Network, an affiliate of the Thriving Women Network. TWN provides the media training and coaching and mentoring to produce your franchise show. Visit our website for more information.
Now to superstar Adele, revealing the secret behind her new outlook on life. The singer praising a New York Times best-selling book, saying, quote, "I am so ready for myself after reading this book." Stephanie Ramos joins us with more. And Stephanie, you have the author's reaction to this. Good morning.
Good morning, Michael. Adele shared a photo of the book titled Untamed, Stop Pleasing, Start Living, encouraging her followers to read it because she says it changed her life. The author now says she's thrilled and hopes the book inspires other women. Adele's music has always done the talking, her voice captivating fans worldwide. When we were young. But these days, it's the Grammy winner's body transformation that has the world buzzing. Adele now sharing it partly comes from what she's learning about herself after reading the New York Times bestseller Untamed by author Glennon Doyle. The 32-year-old crediting Doyle's memoir with helping liberate her mindset about her body, saying after reading the book, "It's as if I just flew into my body for the very first time. Read this book and have a highlighter on hand to make notes," adding, "will shake your brain and make your soul scream." The book is part memoir, part self-help, encouraging women to abandon old expectations set upon them by society, freeing them to be their true, untamed selves. It's been flying off the shelves since we helped launch it here on GMA with our Robin Roberts.
What if motherhood is not about showing your children how to slowly die, but how to bravely live? And so it is our duty to not settle for any relationship that is less beautiful than the one we would want for our babies.
Amen.
Doyle sharing what she hopes people take away from her work.
We need to stop dismissing untamed women and start supporting them, reading them, raising them, and electing them.
Wow. So that was amazing. Welcome to the Author's Corner at Bookish Club, where our mission is to enlighten, encourage, and empower our Bookish members to begin the process of writing their fiction or nonfiction book. The process can even start by choosing the title to inspire you to begin writing today. We are excited to have at the Author's Corner Kathy Dirksen, author, speaker, and founder of Tenacity Global Solutions Incorporated. I'm supporting and inspiring midlife women to rediscover their brilliance and step into new possibility. Her platforms support women to share their own inspiring stories in anthology books, retreats, and mastermind. Her all-in-one program takes us from chapter concept to book publishing in a simple, exciting process for authors, which I'm experiencing firsthand. Super excited to have Kathy on the show. So Kathy, welcome to the Author Corners at Bookish Club.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always fun to hang out with amazing women and talk about books.
I agree. So Kathy, what or who inspired you to become a writer, and what were some of the fears that you had to overcome?
Well, that's actually a very good question. And actually one of the people who really inspired me to take on really blossoming as an author and a publisher is actually Linda Sunshine West, who you have on here as well. You didn't realize you were bringing on the power duo when you brought the two of us on together. We actually worked together on a lot of the books. So Liz, the book that you're in with me is the only book that I've been doing lately that doesn't involve Linda. So it's nice of you to meet her here. All of my other books are in collaboration with Linda and her publishing team. And so I would say Linda was probably one of my biggest inspirations on really taking it on and really going with it. And I would say, though, that what really got me started in writing was a local group here called WOW, Women of Worth. And they had been doing a series of books. And And it wasn't until they had a book come out, and it was called, what was it? Emotional Intelligence, Mental Health Matters.
Ooh.
And at that time, I'd been through, I describe it like I threw my life up in the air and reinvented it on the way back down. And I felt when I heard that title they were working on, I felt that my story was one that could really help other women that were going through similar things. So that's where my initial inspiration was to step into becoming an author. Before that, it was not something that was something I thought that would be, that I was even capable of.
Wow.
And since then, I've been involved in 14 different books. And as Liz, as you know, it's become the main thing I do in my business now, is making that an easy thing for other women, especially, to share their stories, share their voice, and really see the value of becoming a published author.
Yes, yes. And thank you. Thank you for giving women a platform. That is so amazing to me. And so, the name of your business, Tenacity Global Solutions, what inspired you to name it that? And then what is the vision and the mission?
Well, actually, that's where I need to correct you, because it's actually Inspired Tenacity.
Thank you.
and yes, the term Inspired Tenacity really came to me just as a feeling. I've really learned to listen to my intuition and my gut, and that was back when I was going through the turmoil of divorce, complete career change, upheaval of pretty much every part of my life, and finding my way back into what is my life, how do I move forward. And that's where that name, Inspired Tenacity, came to me. And it's interesting because it's really become self-selecting in a lot of ways in my business, because there's certain people that hear the name of my business, Inspired Tenacity, and they think, well, what is that? And they just don't really connect with it. And then other people, the instant they hear Inspired Tenacity, they're like, yes, I love that name. Yeah. And so really it's become a way of people self-selecting. They're either, my people that get it, or they're people that don't get it. And that's just fine.
I love that. I love that. And again, AI can't do that. CJ, what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, what is the process then? Because how do you find then the authors that participate? How do you decide on the titles of the anthology books? And it's a fee service, right? So how much would it cost somebody to be able to be included in one of your anthology books?
Exactly. And I'm sure Linda will talk a lot more about this as well. And so basically, Linda and I work in collaboration. She does a lot of her own projects as well. So how we work together, I come up with my own titles and themes. I collect a group, usually 20 to 25 women from around the world participating in my books. A lot of the ways that I find the women that work with me is through different networking groups, reaching out. And now I'm finding that the more people understand and know what I do, when I have a title that's a good fit for them, and I reach out and say, hey, this could be a good fit for you, I'm getting a lot of women now that right away, yes, no, they're in, they're out. And I mean, as Liz knows, Liz and I met in a networking group. Yeah. And it really was when I said, hey, this is what I'm working on. This would be a good fit for what you're doing now. And that's how it works. She connected with that. And so the book that Liz and I are working on together is actually being done through C-Suite Publishing. Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned, that's the only book that I've been doing that's not with Linda. and that one is called Grit and Tenacity, Women Transforming Leadership in Business and Community. So that is a group of women, again, from all over the place. And each one of them is sharing their own journey of leadership and how they've stepped into leadership, and those tools and strategies that they can provide for the reader, how they can now step into leadership and see themselves as leaders. Because in my mind, I mean, we've been trained to think if you don't have a title, you're not a leader. Right. But I feel that we're all leaders, and there's something we can all be doing as a role in leadership. And so really that book is stories of many women who have taken on leadership in different ways in business and community, in their family, in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So if one of our members, say, wanted to be a participant in an anthology book, because it is a great start to being able to write rather than having to write a whole book.
Oh, definitely. It's a perfect stepping stone. Yes.
So what kind of costs might be associated with that? How much does it cost to be included in an anthology book generally?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a ballpark, but I'm sure it's not always the same amount. But
yes, well, exactly. And like everything, there's changes. And we've been adding a lot of different bells and whistles on lately as well. So that's kind of added to it. Linda and I always do our best to keep the investment as low as possible to make it accessible for as many women as we can. Right now, we're around $2,000. Again, give or take when the project started and what bells and whistles are included in it, and often able to make that into 2 or 3 payments if that works better. So really, trying to make it as accessible as possible. And that includes everything from your coaching to get your chapter ready, right through to all the professional editing, proofreading, formatting. They do the full marketing pieces. We do a full Amazon launch. International #1 is always our goal. And so far we've been doing it very smoothly. Thanks to Linda.
Great. So we'd love for you to read from one of your books after the break. And I just want to tell our members, if you have a question or comment for Kathy or for Linda, who you're going to hear later on in the show, please join us on our Facebook group, Thriving Women TV, where you can post your question or comment. So over to you, Liz.
Absolutely. And Kathy, I'm super excited, as you can see, to have you on the show and to be a part of the book. So thank you for the opportunity. So our next self-help book is Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance by Angela Duckworth. In her book, she shows anyone striving to succeed, be it parents, students, educators, athletes, or business people, that the secret to outstanding achievement is not talent, let that sink in, but a special blend of passion and persistence. And she calls it grit. She takes readers to visit cadets struggling through their first days at West Point, teachers working in some of the toughest schools, and young finalists in the National Spelling Bee, and many other high achievers. We're going to meet her during the break. Remember, Bookish is sponsored by Thriving Women University, an affiliate of the Thriving Women Network. TWM provides immediate training, coaching, and mentoring to produce your own franchise show. Visit our website at www.thrivingwomennetwork.com. We'll be right back.
The way I define grit is simply 2 things: passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. Every day you wake up and you're still interested in it. You understand that it matters to other people. Growing up with a father who was very, very interested in achievement and who was more successful than whom, and at least in our family, who was more talented than others, and a mother who was very supportive. I think I really had, in some ways, what I would consider, parents who did put me on the right path to grit. In addition to being, a role model for grit himself in the way he lived his life, my dad actually articulated a very different message when he spoke to me. So when I was a little girl, just out of the blue, he would say things like, you're no genius. Of my mother, who is an artist, he would say, you're no Picasso. These are not helpful statements, but I think the thing that was interesting to me was that that's not how he actually lived his life. So my father didn't consider himself to be preternaturally gifted intellectually so much, but he worked really, really hard and was incredibly passionate. He was a chemist and incredibly passionate and took his work home, thought about it all the time. So in a way, I got these mixed messages growing up. On the one hand, my dad really modeled for me what it was like to have grit. On the other hand, I kind of got this message that if you're not really talented, you might not be as successful as, of course, he wanted me to be growing up. And so I think from very early on, I've been interested in achievement personally, and interested in this assumption I think that a lot of people make, including my dad, which is that if you're really talented, you're going to be the one who's going to achieve great things in life. And what I came to realize from my own personal experience, and certainly through my psychological research, is that that is in large part a myth, that the really talented people don't always stick with things in the long run, and people for whom things aren't super easy end up in many cases prevailing.
Well, welcome back to the Author's Corner at the Bookish Club, and our mission is to enlighten, encourage, and empower our members to begin the process of writing their story by inviting authors and publishers to share their writing and publishing journeys, whether they're doing novels or non-fiction stories. And we're very excited to have Linda Sunshine West. She's the author, speaker, and founder of Action Takers Publishing and the CEO of Action Takers Publishing. And Linda, you have a mission of empowering 5 million women and men to write their stories to make a greater impact on the planet. So that's your mission. 5 million. You want 5 million women and men to write their stories. And you've been involved in numerous self-help books. And your aim is to invite people on a transformative journey to break free from the grip of fear and unlock our true potential. So over to you, Liz. I'm sure you've got plenty of questions for Linda.
I absolutely do. And again, Linda, welcome to the Author's Corner at Bookish Club. So I have a question for you, and kind of answer it in two ways. So what's the most inspiring self-help book you've ever read? And then how did it help to help your self-confidence and your self-talk?
First of all, I love, the idea of being here. Thank you for having me. I was one of the hostesses here on Bookish for a long while, so it's fun to be on the other side. And I looked up the word grit. I wanted to see, and I ran it through AI, y'all. Okay, I know, CJ, you're talking about AI, but I love what it came up with for an acronym for grit, and that's growth, resilience, integrity, and tenacity. Boy, is that true or what? So, as I think about all the books I've read, just in the last 9 years, because I was never a writer and never a reader until age 51. That's when everything started for me. And that's when I started reading self-help books. And we recently published a book called The Book I Read. It was volume 1. We're working on volume 2 right now, where people would share a book that they read that transformed their lives. And it's the transformation that they got from the book, it's not a book report or a book review. It's the transformation. Mm. So I was going through my mind, which is the book that really had the most impact on my life? And it is The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. But it's not the whole entire book. It was literally just the title of the first chapter. And that first chapter is take 100% responsibility for your life. Mm. I had never done that. How many of us go through life not really looking at how we give ourselves credit and or we also take the blame for the things that we've done wrong so that we can fix them? I was one of those people. And that one title of that chapter totally transformed the way I show up in everything in my life.
Wow. Amazing. And again, that's why the power of words are so important, how that can just transform your life. And I love how you say that it's not about the book, it's about the transformation. That is so powerful to me, so powerful. So what inspired you to title your anthology book, and what fears did you have to overcome to write your first book?
Well, first of all, I was in somebody else's anthology book. That's how I got started. They had a ghostwriter write it, so I didn't have to write anything. Again, I wasn't a writer, not interested in it at all. And so having somebody else write my story was like, oh, thank goodness. Okay, I can do this. So I just had to pay the money and then, tell them my story. And then they wrote it. And I was so grateful for that. That was in 2015. I was breaking through one fear every single day that year. And that was when I met my mentor, who was writing a book called Footsteps of the Fearless. And it made sense for me to be in that book because I was breaking through a fear every day. And so at the end of that year, my mentor asked me, what are you going to do about, breaking through a fear every day for a year? And I was like, I think I've done enough. I don't need to do any more. And he said, no, you should write a book about breaking through fears, because People need that book. And I was like, who am I? Nobody wants to hear my story. I don't know how to write and all this stuff. But I ended up a year and a half later publishing The Year of Fears. I did a self-publishing on that. Didn't know what I was doing, but I did it. I put it out there.
Yes.
And after that, then I was like, what's my next natural state of progression? I was in a collaboration book. I wrote my own book. I'm going to start putting together my own collaboration books, just like my mentor. I'm going to follow in his footsteps. And I came up with the first one. It was called Momentum. And it was, I reached out to some people that I met on my journey, the founder of UGG Boots, the inventor of the credit card magnetic strip, and the creator of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And I asked them all if they would be in my book. And they said yes. And I was like, oh crap, now I got to do it. I made a commitment to them. And it was important for me at that time to realize that me making a commitment to somebody else is what would make me succeed. And so ended up publishing that book. And then I did 2 more after that. Now we're at 37 #1 international best-selling books that we've published. And it's been an incredible journey. So when you said which, your book, it's many, many books that we've put together as collaborations, as well as working with solo authors. And it's just, one door opens and you choose to step through it or not. And I chose to step through full speed ahead.
Well, that's an amazing mission that you have. You want to empower 5 million women and men to write their stories and make a greater impact on the planet. So how long do you think that's going to take you, and how far have you got with your count of people that you're having making an impact?
Well, it's interesting because first of all, because I wanted to create a SMART goal, right? Measurable. And so the measurable was putting a number on it. My favorite number is 5. And so I chose 50,000. I was going to empower 50,000 men and women. And then I said, oh yeah, Grant Cardone, he always says you need to 10X it. And so I put a 10X on it to 5 million, not realizing that that's actually 100X. And instead of backing down, I figured that was a mistake that needed to keep going, So I stuck on the 5 million number. And, so far we've published a little over 500. So we're a long ways away. But this is a legacy mission. This is not a while I'm here mission. Will it happen while I'm here? It can, but odds are probably against me, on that. So I'm leaving a legacy. What I loved about that, CJ, is when I came up with that number, I said, oh my God, I'm creating a legacy here, something I never ever thought of before until I got into the book world. So that's where we're going with it.
Wow. So Linda, we'd love for you to read from your book after the break. One of your many books. You've got so many books. How are you going to decide which one you're going to read from? But that one, great.
Yes, I'm ready.
And if you have a question or comment for Linda, join us on our Facebook group, Thriving Women TV. Over to you, Liz.
Absolutely. And I love how, Linda, what you talked about, it's not about getting to the destination. It's about enjoying the journey. So I love that. So during our break, we will hear a short story on honesty. Our next self-help book is Atomic Habits, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones by James Clear. No matter your goals, Atomic Habits offers a proven framework for improving every day. James Clear is one of the world's leading experts on habit formation, revealing practical strategies that will teach you exactly how to form good habits, break bad ones, and master the tiny behaviors that lead to remarkable results. If you're having trouble changing your habits, the problem isn't you. The problem is our system. Bad habits repeat themselves again and again, not because we don't want to change, but because we have the wrong system for change. We do not rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. The book will give us a proven system. During the break, we will hear a review. Bookish Talk is sponsored by Thriving Women University, an affiliate of the Thriving Women Network. TWN provides the media training, coaching, and mentoring to produce your franchise show. Visit our website to learn more at www.thrivingwomennetwork.com.
Atomic Habits is a popular self-help book written by James Clear that focuses on the idea of making small, incremental changes to build better habits and improve your life. Here is a brief review of the book's content. The book begins by emphasizing the importance of habits in shaping our lives. Clear argues that the key to success is not in making big changes all at once, but rather in making small, consistent improvements over time. He introduces the concept of atomic habits, tiny, incremental changes that build upon each other to create significant progress. Clear provides practical advice on how to build good habits and break bad ones. He outlines a 4-step process for creating new habits, which involves making them obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. He also addresses common obstacles to habit formation, such as procrastination, and offers strategies for overcoming them. One of the book's strengths is its emphasis on the power of small wins. Clear argues that small victories can create positive feedback loops that lead to bigger successes over time. He encourages readers to focus on the process of habit formation rather than the end result, and to celebrate even the smallest progress. The book.
Well, there we go. And that sounded like an AI voice yet again. Oh
did.
no, you and I would have done a much better job reading
We
that.
would have, I'm telling you.
Welcome back to the Bookish Club. In this segment, we listen to empowering authors read from their books to enlighten, encourage, and empower our members to begin their journey of writing their novel or legacy story. And we have two wonderful ladies in the studio with us, Linda Sunshine West and Kathy Dirksen. They're in the Bookish Reading Club to read from their books. Welcome back. First of all, let's start with Kathy. So tell us a little bit about the chapter in the anthology you're going to read, and inspire our members by reading a 1-minute passage from it.
All right. So the one that I've chosen to read from is called Embrace Courage. It was actually the first book that I did as one of my projects. And yes, Linda was the publisher of this. And I'll just sort of read from the beginning here. For many years, I have felt a calling to step into a bigger, brighter version of myself. I have felt a knowing that I was meant to be a leader in a much bigger way than I had been allowing myself to reveal. Finding the courage to step into this reality has been my journey for many years now. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Owning this new identity as a leader on an international level has required me to embrace courage to shine in a much bigger way than I could have ever imagined. This book is a concrete example of my growth and progress. I am proud to be the curator of this collaborative book, and I'm honored to have so many amazing people entrust me with their stories. I'm thrilled to step deeper into the role of an international leader and supporting women and men to share their stories and step into their truth. It may not seem like a large step, but embracing the courage to reach out to people around the world and invite them to join me on this journey takes a lot of courage. Finding new ways to be brave has helped me tremendously along the way. And I want to thank you for having me on the show. I do need to hop off at this point.
Quickly, just before you go, how do people get in touch with you if they want to find out more about what you do?
Perfect. My website is inspiredtenacity.com, and LinkedIn is my main social media. And so you can find me and a lot of information about my projects and my books at both of those places.
Inspiredtenacity.com. Great name for a website.
Yeah.
So over to Linda. It's your chance to be in the center of the stage and tell us what you're going to be reading and inspire our members by reading about a minute from it.
Yeah, this is Do It Because You're Scared. This is a solo book. I broke through a fear every single day for a year, and I learned a lot that year. And so this is really talking about how we need to break through fears. And I share with you some tips and steps that I took in order to break through a fear every single day for 365 days in a row. So this is just a small excerpt from that. About 3 months into facing one fear every day, I was brushing my teeth and reciting an acronym I had heard many times. False evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. Staring at myself, I realized that acronym is a lie. I broke it down and realized that there was nothing false about my fear. My fears are as real as can be to me. There was no evidence in anything. It didn't appear real. It was real. I looked over the previous 3 months and had this epiphany that when I tapped into my faith, it was much easier for me to break through my fear. You can't have fear and faith at the same time. They are opposites. I realized that fear is nothing more than anxiety or nervousness. So I came up with my own acronym. Faith erases anxious reactions.
Fabulous.
I'll stop there. You got to read the rest to hear the rest.
Oh.
Yeah. So Linda, if somebody wants to get in touch, find out more about what you do, how do they do that?
They can find us at actiontakerspublishing.com. We have the socials, Action Takers Publishing, and then on all the other socials for my personal is Linda with a Y, Linda Sunshine West. Thanks for having me. This has been great.
Thank you. I mean, we could go on for hours more. I'm sorry, the time is so short here. But if you have any additional questions or comments for Linda Sunshine West at Action Takers Publishing or Kathy Dirksen at Inspired Tenacity, we encourage you to join our private Facebook group, Thriving Women TV. So our final self-help book today, which we're going to look at, is Think Like a Monk, The Secret of How to Harness the Power of Positivity and Be Happy Now. It's written by Jay Shetty, and it's an inspiring, empowering book that draws on his time as a monk, that shows how we can clear our own roadblocks to our potential and power. So the lessons that monks learn are profound, but often abstract. So Jay manages to transform them into advice, and he gives us exercises we can all use to reduce stress, improve focus, improve relationships, identify our hidden abilities, increase self-discipline, and give the gifts we find in ourselves to the world. In other words, make us better people. So during our break, we're going to hear from Jay Shetty and his book about thinking like a monk. Bookish, of course, is sponsored by Thriving Women University, an affiliate of the Thriving Women Network. And if you want to produce a franchise show on E360 TV, TWN provides the media training, coaching, and mentoring to do just that. And to find out more, visit our website, thrivingwomennetwork.com. We'll be right back after hearing about how to think like a monk.
Ever wondered how a monk perceives the world? What if we all could harness that serenity, clarity, and wisdom in our everyday lives? Today, we delve into the enlightening pages of Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty, a journey that uncovers the profound wisdom of monastic life and how we can incorporate it into our daily routine. Chapter 1, Identity, takes us on an introspective journey. Shetty emphasizes the importance of self-understanding. He shares how monks learn to distinguish between their true selves and the image they present to the world, a vital step towards achieving inner peace. In the second chapter, Negativity, Shetty takes a deep dive into the power of the human mind. He discusses how negative thoughts can consume us and shares techniques monks use to overcome negativity, such as meditation and mindfulness. Chapter 3, Fear, explores one of the most powerful human emotions. Shetty educates us on how monks handle fear, not by avoiding it, but by acknowledging and understanding it. They see fear as a teacher, not an enemy. Mission, the fourth chapter, underscores the importance of purpose in our lives. Shetty reveals how a clear, heartfelt mission can help us navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. As we move into Chapter 5, Routine, Shetty illuminates the power of consistent, purpose-driven habits. He shares the daily routines of monks and explains how these practices lead to a focused, peaceful mind. Chapter 6, Mindset, delves into the power of our thoughts. Shetty explains how monks cultivate a growth mindset, viewing challenges as opportunities for learning and growth. In Chapter 7, Ego, Shetty discusses the concept of ego in monastic life. He shares how monks learn to recognize and control their ego, leading to a life of humility and compassion. The 8th chapter, Relationships, explores the monk's approach to interpersonal connections. Shetty teaches us how monks maintain healthy relationships by cultivating empathy.
Interesting stuff there. That's a book that's probably worth taking a look at. Think Like a Monk, The Secret of How to Harness the Power of Positivity and Be Happy Now by Jay Shetty. So welcome back to the Bookish Club. We want to thank our Bookish members for supporting our mission and of course thank today's guests. Linda Sunshine West of Action Takers Publishing, and Kathy Dirksen of Inspired Tenacity. You can support the Bookish Club by telling a friend and joining our Facebook group, Thriving Women TV, and post a question or comment about today's episode. You can also watch this and previous episodes on our website, that's thrivingwomennetwork.com, or on e360tv.com. And if you just want to listen to us and not see us, you can go to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Over to you, Liz. I have to say, before I used to work for BBC Radio, and my expression was about that, oh yes, I have a great face for radio.
I love that.
To see my face.
I love that, CJ. So we hope that something we said enlightened you to begin the process of writing your story, encourage you to read books outside your genre, and empower you to overcome fears and begin writing your legacy story. Bookish is sponsored by Thriving Women University, an affiliate of the Thriving Women Network. If you want to produce a franchise show on E360 TV, TWN provides media training, coaching, and mentoring. Visit our website at www.thrivingwomennetwork.com.
And we will be back next Friday with more Bookish Talk.